friends, it's Jordan and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about 2021 releases. I'm going to be telling you all of the books that I am most excited for in 2021. I feel like there are so many phenomenal books coming out this year that I just am ecstatic for. There are so many wonderful books I feel like coming out in 2021 that the reading year should be nothing but phenomenal as a result. Typically break this up into 2 parts and do like January through June, and then I'll do a July through December later on in the year. Not going to include the release dates, I don't think. I don't know, I haven't decided yet because I feel like so many books' release dates have changed with the pandemic and everything that I don't know if any of these are going to be accurate, and I don't want to give you false information. But I will be going in chronological order based on what they currently are. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into my most anticipated books of 2021. The first book on our list here is Lore by Alexandra Bracken. I've had a really rocky experience with Alexandra Bracken. I haven't liked really any of the books I've read by her, but I'm constantly intrigued by her books. The concepts sound so phenomenal, but her writing style I really struggle with. However, I could say the same thing about V.E. Schwab, and I ended up loving her most recent release. So I'm hoping that this is going to be the book that changes things for me with Alexandra Bracken. This is a Olympus-inspired, Greek gods-inspired story, and that's all I know about it. A lot of these books, there won't be much information because I like to go into books without knowing anything. So that's how I'm going to deliver it to you as well. If you want a synopsis, you can go read one on Google. My general excitement should be enough for you though, right? I'm optimistic but hesitantly about this one. Not so much about the next one though, which is You Have a Match by Emma Lord. This is the sophomore novel for Emma Lord. Her last book came out last year was Tweet Cute, which is one of my favorite books of 2020. I absolutely love Tweet Cute, about these 2 teenagers who work for rival grilled cheese companies and have a Twitter war, but they're also like secretly flirting with each other, and it's beautiful and amazing and I love it so much. This one, I don't know what it's about. The cover makes me think camp and lakes, but that's because there's a lake on the cover. So I don't know what this one entails, but if it's the same fun writing style with the same quirky, fun characters that her first book had, I'm sure I'm going to love it just as much, and I'm really excited to read this. It comes out like really soon. Then we have Wench by Maxine Kaplan, which is a book I've had the e-arc for way too long, considering that I haven't yet read it. I think it was her debut novel, The Accidental Bad Girl, a few years ago, and I loved that book. It's kind of in the same vein as Female of the Species and Sadie. It's like that same feminist, take charge, sexual assault discussion topic. I don't know what this one is about, but I think it has to do with like a wench in a bar tavern, and it might be historical or fantasy. I don't know. I just know that I really liked her first book, so I want to read this book. I have an arc of it and I never read it, and I know that makes me a bad person. But I'm going to read it soon. She says about everything. Next we have A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Bridget Kemmerer, which is the final book to A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is one of my favorite ongoing series, and it's going to end this month and I'm very sad about it. The first book was a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a young girl from DC who gets abducted and taken to a parallel world to help save their prince from this unending curse and his kingdom and his, subjects. So this is the final book and I am so excited. The things that came to light in book 2, I couldn't even believe. So this should be nothing but an absolute fun filled it's like everything about YA fantasy that I freaking love, and I am so stinking excited for this one. And then I'm gonna be very sad when it's over. So next we have The Project by Courtney Summers, who is the author of Sadie. And similar to everything else on this list, I don't know what this book is about. I think it has to do with cults and saving a sister from a cult. But I feel like there's a lot of books that are kind of like this coming out this year, so I might be remembering the wrong one. But I really enjoyed Sadie, and I'm interested in what else this author has to write. I was interested in her last book, The June Boys, but I heard a lot of really mixed reviews about the formatting and how that really affected the storytelling, so I never ended up reading it. But I am very excited for the project, and I'm hoping that it's as good as Sadie, and I'm sure that it is. I feel like people have such good things to say about Courtney Summers and her writing and her novels, and so I'm only like super excited for this book. Plus the cover, this looks so ominous and creepy and just so good. And then obviously we have A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. I feel like I've had to wait a million years for this book. Like, I feel like these books were all put on Goodreads like 10 years ago, and we've just been teased by them since. When did Echo War come out? Like 2018? I think I was still in college. It's been a while. This is the story following Nesta and Cassian, who are two characters from the earlier books, and this is like their own spin-off story with just the two of them. They have really phenomenal chemistry in the other books, and so I'm expecting nothing but longing stares, but also really vindictive glares at each other. They're two characters who like have some really deep-seated, like true organic chemistry, but also they like low-key hate each other. So I'm super excited to see how this is going to play out. I hope it doesn't disappoint us. I've been waiting for this for so long that I just really hope it lives up to what I've imagined in my head for it to be. And that's really all I need from it. I just need it to live up to what my brain has created for it, and we will be all good. After this, we have First Comes Like by Alicia Ray, which is the third book in the Modern Love series, which is Right Swipe and Girl Gone Viral. And it's also a companion series to her Forbidden Hearts series. So I feel like nobody knows about that. Forbidden Hearts is not as widely marketed. The covers are not those cute illustrated covers that these books have. It's very traditional mass market paperback romance, but the characters are crossovers from the two series. So you'll see characters from the Forbidden Hearts series in this series and like vice versa. And so I just really think that if you are enjoying this series, you should go back and read the other one as well. They're all intertwined, and it's so much fun to see all the cameos. This one follows, I think her name is Gia, and she is a like fashion blogger, Instagrammer. I've enjoyed all of the books that I've read from this author before, so I'm only expecting to enjoy this one as well. Then we have Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare, the sequel to Chain of Gold. I'm really just reading this for the angsty character romance developments. There are so many characters in these books, and there are so many romances, and everybody likes everybody else. It's very like CW teen drama. I really appreciate that level in these books, and they're so angsty. And they're so much fun, and I really liked Chain of Gold, and it was ridiculous, but it was great. So I'm only hoping for like that same level of nonsense in the sequel. I think I'm gonna enjoy it. I would have a hard time believing that I wouldn't. After that, we have A History of What Comes Next by Sylvain Neuvel, who is also the author of the Waking Gods series. No, Sleeping Giants is the first book. Waking Gods is the sequel, which is a adult science fiction story that I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite series of all time. That one follows like giant metal body parts found around the globe and how that relates to like an alien society. This one, I don't know what it's about, which is, we should keep like a tally counter down here of how many times I say that. I don't know what this is about, but it's a full-length novel from Sylvain Neuvel. It's science fiction, so I have pretty high hopes. I think I'm gonna love this. I loved the last thing he wrote. I have high hopes I'm gonna love this too. There's missiles on the cover. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but this gives me like missile vibes. Missile war, atomic bomb vibes. Am I correct? I have no idea. Then we have the sequel to King of Scars, which is Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo, which I have really mixed feelings about. I really was disappointed by King of Scars. It really wasn't what I wanted it to be, but then there were other things about it that I really loved. Like I really loved Zoya. Zoya stole the show for me in that book. And I loved what she had going with Nikolai. I just don't really know how I'm gonna feel about the sequel. There was, oh, I remember how the first book ended. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the sequel. The last book ended in a way that I think is really unnecessary. And like, we've been there and done that before. We don't need to do that again, but we have chosen to do it again. I hope it's good, but I don't have high hopes. But I still will read it because I want to know what happens. Ooh, and the Netflix series comes out this year. I'm more excited for that than I am for this. Next on my list here, we have Twice Shy by Sarah Hogel, which is the sophomore novel. I read her debut novel this past year and loved it. It's on my favorite books of the year list. It's called You Deserve Each Other. And that one follows two characters who are engaged and who hate each other at this point, but refuse to call off the wedding, and they're just trying to sabotage each other. So that was really fun. Like, that was a really good time. So I'm really interested to see what Twice Shy is about. I don't know the plot for this book. See, this is what happens. I read a book and I really enjoy it. And then I see that the author is writing something new. So I automatically just add it to my to-be read list. I don't need to know what it's about. I just need to know that the author wrote a book that I loved and now I want to read their other book. Like, that's how my brain works. So I don't know what any of these are about, and I'm real sorry because that is probably not helpful for you. But I'm really excited for this, and I think that y'all are sleeping on Sarah Hogel, and I think this is going to be really great. That's how I feel. Speaking of romance authors, next we have Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne, which, Sally Thorne. I loved The Hating Game. I did not like 99% Mine at all. Where will this one land? I don't know. I also don't know what this is about, but I do know that it could either go really well or really poorly. I'm hoping it goes really well. I'm hoping that whatever happened with 99% Mine does not continue into this book. It's been a few years since that book came out, so I'm hoping that there was growth and learning from that book, and that this one's going to be only better and more like The Hating Game, because The Hating Game was solid and then 99% Mine was not. Will she redeem herself for me? We'll find out. All right, next we have 10 Truths in a Dare by Ashley Elston, who also wrote 10 Blind Dates, which is that Christmas book that follows Sophia, who is the daughter in a big Italian family, and her family sets her up on 10 blind dates over Christmas to help her get over a breakup where the boy really broke her heart. I think this is a sequel to that book, or like a companion novel, but regardless, I'm excited to read it because I really liked the first book. Christmas novel, it's super cute. I loved all the fun dates. I loved watching her interact with all of these really random guys, and being that this comes out in May, I highly doubt this is a Christmas book, but I'm still equally as excited for it. All right, so the next one on my list here is One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. Casey also wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I really enjoyed. That one came out a couple of years ago, and I feel like I've been waiting forever for a sophomore novel from them. I'm so excited for, which is what I've said for all of these books. I also don't know what this is about, which is also what I've said for all of these books. I think this one might be a female-female romance, whereas Red, White, and Royal Blue was a male-male romance. Hopefully it's just as great as the previous novel. Then we have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry, who also wrote Beach Read, which was another one of my favorite books of 2020. So obviously I am super excited for this one as well. I'm not really interested in anything that she's written for YA before, but I am really interested in her adult, like, romance contemporary novels, of which I think this is similar, and that to Beach Read was the same thing. I also don't know what this book is about. Beach Read, we followed writers who were going on this incredible, like, emotional journey together, but also, like, this romance was brewing, and I really, like, enjoyed the conversations that they had with each other and how vulnerable and open they were. So I'm really hoping that the characters in this book are written similarly and that I fall in love with them as much as I did with January and Gus. Then we have The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. Normally I would be very excited for a Christina Lauren book, but I have just been so disappointed by their books recently. I think the last 3 in a Holidays, The Honey Don't List, and Twice in a Blue Moon have really been underwhelming. They're not nearly as captivating and as romantic and as, you know, smutty as they used to be. And I don't even know what this one is about. The Soulmate Equation kind of sounds like maybe they're taking some kind of like soulmate test and they get paired up, and I don't know, it's kind of like what that sounds like. Cautiously optimistic, because I really haven't loved what they've done recently, and I don't know if they're going to be a favorite author duo of mine moving forward, but I have really enjoyed a lot of their books in the past, so I haven't totally written them off yet. Next we have the Ivies by Alexa Dunn. I'm so freaking excited for. I've met Alexa Dunn a couple of times at Book Nut Fest. She was telling us about this book, which was then just an idea, and it follows kids at a prep school and murder, and that's just something I found I really like. I really like reading books and like watching TV shows about a bunch of kids at a prep school and there being like a murder committed or something. I found that something I really enjoy. And the way that she spoke about this and pitched it just really captivated me. She sounded really passionate about it. And I haven't read any of her other books, but this one is definitely the one out of all of them that she's written that I'm the most excited for, and that is the most up my alley. So I am so excited for this one to come out. Then we have the Queen herself releasing Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have read only 2 of her books, admittedly, but I loved them both with my whole being. I love Daisy Jones and the Six. I love Evelyn Hugo. I love this like historical romance, literary fiction hybrid that she's created with this fictional world full of these fictional celebrities. It's just perfection. It's perfection. And this one takes place in the 80s, so we're like slowly working our way up the decades. It follows 4 family members who are all celebrities, 4 celebrity siblings. That would have been an easier way to say that. In Malibu, in the 80s. I mean, like, what more could you want? I'm so freaking excited. I've loved what she's done with Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones, and I'm hoping that this is just as phenomenal. I'm so freaking excited for this book. I'm so excited. Then we have Heartbreakers Fakers by Cameron Lund, which is the sophomore novel to her book that came out this past year, which was another one of my favorite books of 2020, and that one was The Best Laid Plans. This one, I have no idea what it's about. It probably takes place in high school, being SYA, but I don't know anything more than that, and I really don't need to because I loved her first book so much, and I was so thoroughly impressed with it, and it was one of my favorite YA contemporaries that I've read in a long time, that I feel like this is just hopefully going to deliver the same thing that that did. And I'm super excited to see what else she has to offer us, and it's going to be such a good time. And then we have a book that I didn't know existed until very recently, and it's called The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson, which is a companion novel to the Truly Devious books, which is a 3-book series that I thought was over. I thought The Hand on the Wall was the finale for that series, but then this book appeared, and I don't know what this has to do with the series. Cover very much obviously matches the rest of the series, so it must take place in this world somehow. I don't know. I'm going to now read it because I've read the other books in that series and I'm curious. And the final book on the list here is Witch Shadow by Susan Dennard. This is the 4th full-length novel, I think, in the Witchland series. There's also like a companion shorter story in there as well. And this one we are following Isolde. I feel like we've all been waiting for Isolde's book since the first book came out, and we are finally getting her book, and I'm so excited. I have to be honest though, I haven't read Blood Witch yet. Ooh, I know. I haven't read this series since, probably like 2017, whenever Wind Witch came out. It's been a while, so I'm definitely gonna have to reread the first 2 books. I'm so excited for this. It's about 2 best friends who have magical abilities in this fantastical world, and they've had a truce between all of the different countries, and the truce is just about to be over. They're on the brink of its expiration, and they're about to descend back into war. I have really enjoyed this series so far, and so I'm really excited for this book to come out as well. And that was the last one. Those are all the books that I am most excited to come out in 2021. I would love to know what you guys are excited for in the comments down below. If you'd like to follow me anywhere else on the interwebs, my handles for Instagram and Twitter are on the screen now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, I will talk to you very soon. Bye!